Hey guys, it's Melton here, and this is What If Naruto Had Ink Release Part 7, so I hope you guys enjoy, and without further ado, roll the intro. One week later, Naruto was sitting on top of the Hokage monument. This time, Shino wasn't with him, neither was Yakumo. Feeling bad? A voice said, beside Naruto. Turning his head to the right, he saw Anko staring out over the village with him. On her face was normal, surprisingly normal. It didn't have a hint of the normal mischievousness she normally had. I don't think sad is the right word, Naruto replied. I can't really differentiate between emotions, so I would describe it as something closer to emptiness. Why did they have to die? I don't understand. Why did I have to kill the Hunterman? It just seemed so simple at the time. Just reaction. But now that I look on it, why? It's not that simple, kid, Anko replied with a sigh. What we shinobi do for our village is to achieve some semblance of peace. Even if we have to kill to try and achieve peace. You understand? I think so, Naruto replied. So, all we shinobi do is try to attain peace for our individual villages. That is correct, Anko replied. Now, you might want to go and check up on Yakumo. I believe that your somber mood has rubbed off on her, and she's starting to draw some slightly questionable things. Naruto sighed. I suppose I should. Thank you, Anko-sensei. I needed that. You're welcome, Anko replied, before her eyes gained the usual mischievous glint. Now go, I mean what I said. Seriously, her paintings are starting to get freaky. Time skip, 1 week later. Naruto and Shino were currently sparring. The only strange thing was that they were doing it on top of a rope, tied between two trees 30 feet in the air. Because Naruto was the best at taijutsu, he was sparring with Shino and Yakumo, one at a time. Anko had said it would help with balance and taijutsu skills, but in reality, the entire team of Team 11, in their opinion, it was an excuse to see them all fail and get hurt. When Yakumo twisted her ankle from falling off the rope, Anko had almost fallen out of the tree she was in from laughing. Actually, where is she, Naruto thought, looking past Shino into the tree where Anko should be. There was nothing to be seen, but Naruto looking away from Shino turned out to be a mistake. He realized this when Shino's fist found its target in the side of his jaw. The force behind the punch pushed Naruto off balance, causing him to fall off the rope. Thinking quickly, Naruto grabbed the rope and swung back onto it. It took a few seconds to stabilize himself before turning back to Shino. I apologize for being distracted, Naruto said. You're forgiven, Shino replied. Shall we continue? Naruto nodded before rushing forward as quickly as he could on the rope and started attacking. His taijutsu style was somewhat limited, because he couldn't use his feet, seeing as he was on a rope 30 feet in the air. As Naruto really focused, Shino got pushed back more and more. Naruto suddenly leaned to the right, and using chakra to stick to the rope, swung around so that he was hanging upside down. Naruto then quickly grabbed Shino's ankle and pulled him off the rope. He still held onto Shino's ankle so that he didn't drop him, but he was hanging from Naruto, who was on the bottom of the rope. I think I win, Naruto said, pulling Shino back up so he could grab onto the rope. Well done, a voice said, with accompanied clapping. Naruto looked down towards the tree where Yakumo was sitting and saw Anko standing next to her. Well, what are you guys waiting for? Get down here, Anko said in her usual abrupt tone. Naruto and Shino quickly rope-crawled over the tree that the rope was connected to and scaled down. So, as you all might know, the Chunin exams are coming up in 2 weeks, and I decided to recommend you all. So, all you have to do is report to room 311 in the Shinobi Academy, Anko said. Now, guys, I'm not gonna lie, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. There's gonna be a little pre-test exam to get rid of the masses of people who are trying to take the exam. I trained you well enough that you should realize what it is, but I'm just telling you guys ahead of time, as this was mainly supposed to discourage or block people who really shouldn't be taking the exam from taking. I know you guys are good enough, so I told you anyway, just kind of keep quiet about it. You're not really supposed to know. You guys understand? All the members of Team 11 nodded, and Anko smiled before continuing. Okay, well, we're done for today. Dismissed. As soon as she finished, Anko disappeared in a body flicker. Hey guys, do you want to go somewhere to get something to eat? Naruto asked, turning to Shino and Yakumo. Time skip, 2 weeks. Naruto and the rest of Team 11 were in the force of death. Their first exam was ridiculously easy. Anko had made sure that each of the members of Team 11 were observant, so noticing the few people who had the answers was simple. Then, using a bit of sleight of hand, Naruto exchanged the papers for the ones that had the answers, and then distributed them to Shino and Yakumo. Then came the second exam, where Genma was the proctor. Normally it would have been Anko, seeing as how she spent the most time, along with Team 11, in the force of death, but because she was a sensei of one of the teams taking the exam, she couldn't really be the proctor. Currently, Team 11 was tracking a team from the rain. They were very hard to track and were quite loud. Shino had already tagged each of them with about a dozen chakra draining bugs. They wouldn't collapse for a while, but they would be sluggish. Naruto tapped Yakumo on the shoulder and pointed up. She nodded and performed the genjutsu that covered the treetops. To anyone looking up, it would be nothing more than a simple genjutsu that made everything above them normal. But behind the genjutsu, Naruto was silently making his way till he was directly above the enemy team. After about a minute of traveling above them, Naruto stopped and dropped down. He axe-kicked one of them in the shoulder, instantly knocking him out. Quickly turning to the nearest one, Naruto jumped towards him, knee extended, and nailed him in the stomach. Dropping back down to the ground, Naruto quickly pulled out a kunai, flipped it so that he was holding the blade, and spun around. The third member of the rain team was also preparing to throw a kunai. Naruto and the third member both threw their kunai at the same time, both of them impacting each other and falling to the floor. The third member was fumbling around for a second kunai. Naruto, capitalizing on this, rushed ahead and nailed him in the jaw with a chakra-enhanced punch, sending him about a foot into the air. Grabbing the ankle of the guy who was in the air, Naruto spun around again and threw him towards the member of the squad he had kneed. Their skulls impacted with a thunk sound, and both of them fell to the floor unconscious. Elementary, Naruto stated, as he started rifling through their pouches. Earth, Naruto said, as he pulled out an earth scroll. What do we have? Heaven, Yakumo replied. She pulled out a heaven scroll from her pouch. Good. Put it back, Naruto said. Now, we might be able to reach the tower by sundown, but he was cut off by the temperature suddenly plummeting. A dark, malevolent feel came from about a mile away to their left. I don't think we should be heading in that direction, Naruto said. I mean, we have what we need already, right? That is a logical decision, Shino stated. Agreed, Yakumo said. Well then, to the tower it is, Naruto said as they took off toward the tower. Time skip. 5 days. Team 11 had arrived at the tower the first day. They were the only second team to arrive, second only to the team from Suna. Currently, they're in the preliminary exam field. Sasuke was currently going up against a person named Yori. It wasn't going too well for him, as seeing as how Team 7 had arrived only yesterday and they were pretty beaten up even then. But somehow, after about 5 minutes of fighting, he managed to win. Next fight, Naruto Uzumaki vs Temari no Sabaku, Raido, the proctor for the third exam, called. Well, Naruto said, this will definitely be interesting. Anyway guys, thanks for listening. I hope to see you guys next time.